Hi friends, it's Virginia Nabel here. We're going to go over the paper cutting and die cutting prep work for my fall class. So the first thing I would suggest is to grab your instruction booklet and turn to the page to the paper cutting guide, which is this visual here. This has each of the pattern papers and the dimensions and the orientation of how the papers are going to be cut. We are going to cut and sort our papers at the same time into two different groups. Group A is for pages 1 and 2. Group B is for pages 3 and 4. And there actually is another group C, which I would call sort of the scrap bin. So let's get started. Let's go ahead and grab your collection kit. It's the Happy Crafting collection kit from Echo Park, as well as the solids kit, which contains 6 double-sided pieces of solid paper. First sheet is A, which is 1 sheet of the green and light pink paper. Next is die cut flowers with the horizontal stripes up. C is useful scraps, the mint green. Next is 1 sheet of the dark pink and navy. Crafting scissors, the pink flower side up. 4x4 journaling cards, the multi-colored dots side up. A sheet of 12x12 white cardstock, any brand from your stash is okay. Scrapping scissors, the yellow dot side up. Artistic albums, the album side up. Scrapbooking stripes, the horizontal stripes up. Happy floral, the blue X's side up. And then lastly here, the 1 sheet of yellow and blue paper. Also in this order is the flower blooms, freehand flowers. You're just going to fussy cut about 8 to 10 of the floral blooms. Don't worry about these little fine greenery pieces. You can just cut around some of the larger green pieces, and then you'll just layer that under the flower blooms as you're putting your page together. The 1 sheet of the green and light pink, that actually goes into group A. That's the page 1 page base. And then the yellow and blue solid and the dark pink and navy solid, that actually will go into group B. So in fact, we can actually start those groups now. This goes into group A as 1 solid piece of paper. These 2 sheets go into group B. And I do know that this floral piece, the freehand cut flowers, let's just place that into group A, although the flower blooms are used across both pages. Okay, so we've got our papers. Let's get them face side up again. And go ahead and grab your paper trimmer. I'm going to keep this cutting guide handy so that I can refer to it. Grab your 12-inch trimmer and we'll start cutting. We'll just go over my measurement naming conventions. I always list the first number as the length. So length, and then the second number is height. So when it says to cut a 12 by 3 inch stripe from this paper, it's 12 by 3 inches. Okay, so for this 1 sheet of the green and light pink, the light pink side up, we are going to keep the barcode strip. So it's 12 by 1 of the pink. So here's my 1-inch bark. "12 by 1 strip, that goes into group A. And then from the remaining paper, we're going to cut a 12 by 3 inch. So again, this is 12 inches by 3 inches high. and that goes into group A. This remaining piece, we can, oops, I'm sorry, that goes into group B. The 12 by 3 goes into group B. Let's just place that into group C. This is a leftover paper that you can use for photo mats or extra layering should you wish. Okay, so die cut flowers, the horizontal stripes up, but first away, let's trim away this UPC coat. So we are going to trim an 11 by 12 inch block. So essentially we'll just trim away a 1 inch piece from that right edge. Okay, so you have 11 by 12 inch, and then you have a 1 by 12 inch. So that goes into group A, both pieces. Next up, useful scraps. We're going to cut a 12 by 3 inch strip from the top. That goes into group A, as well as another piece, which is 12 by 3 3/4 for photo mats. So here's another point. If you are going to have different size photos, you can leave that second cut or just defer that. So first, let's just cut a 12 by 3 inch strip from the top. $12 by 3 3/4. That's going to be for photo mats. $12 by 3 inch piece goes into group A. 12 by 3 3/4 go into group A as well. This again we could put into group C. Next is the dark pink and navy piece. Let's go ahead and cut a 12 by 3 inch piece from the top, which will go into group A. $12 by 3 into group A. Next, we're going to cut, this is photo mat, so 12 by 3 3/4. Again, if you think you're going to use different size photos, just skip this cut. And in fact, I'm going to subcut this into 11-inch long piece for my photo mat. Photo mat goes into group A. From the rest of this paper, we're going to cut two 12 by 3/8 inch high strips. So 3/8 inch high is just 1/8 more than a quarter. Okay, then we're going to subcut those into two 5-inch lengths. And these little strips will go into group A. So from this remaining piece, we're going to die cut it a shadow. So you can cut it 4 by 3, or we'll just place this entire piece into group A. Next, we've got crafting scissors, the pink side up. First, let's cut a 12 by 3 piece from the top, and then another 12 by 2.5 inch strip. And both of those blocks go into group A. Those 2 strips go into group A. This can go into group C, which is like a scrap pile. Next, 4 by 4 journaling cards, the dot side up, a 12 by 3 piece from the top, 12 by 3 piece for photo mats, and then another 12 by 2 3/4 piece for photo mats. So the last 2 cuts, if you are using different photo sizes, you can defer that to later. $12 by 3, another 12 by 3, and I'm going to make 2 4 by 3 photo mats. Might as well do that while I'm here. Photo mats go into group B. $12 by 2.75. These will also be photo mats. Again, if you will have different photo sizes, you can skip that step. It's going to be 3 2.75 inch square photo mats for group B. $12 by 3 inch strip, that goes into group A. There is this remainder, which we can place into group C. Okay, next, 12 by 12 white cardstock from your stash. We are going to cut a 12 by 3 inch piece from the top. Actually, 2 of them. One is for group A and one is for group B. So I'm just going to be efficient and cut it at 6 inches. And then move it over 3 so that I get 2 12 by 3 inch strips. One goes into group A, one goes into group B. And this one again will go into group A for we're going to die cut a shadow. So you can cut it to 4 by 3 or just place this into group A. Scrapping scissors, the yellow dot side up. Let's first cut a 12 by 3.5 inch piece. This is going to be a tag element that we're going to make. And then we're going to trim this in half to 6 inches long. One is going to be a tag and the other one you're going to die cut something from it. So both pieces go into group B. And then we're just going to trim away this UPC strip because we want to make a little ribbon for our tag, and we're going to just capture that yellow portion of that strip. Okay, so that can go into group B. In fact, I didn't do that, so you know what? Because I didn't do that very good, I'm just going to cut another 1/2 inch piece from here. And this is extra, could go into group C. Artistic album side up. Okay, so we're going to first cut the first 4 rows of albums as one block. And yes, I know that this first row is actually not a full row of the album height, but we are still going to include that as a row. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to cut that as one block first. Okay, and then we're going to place that into group B. And this remainder we're going to place into group A. Next paper, scrapbooking stripes. Let's first cut a 1.5 by 12 inch strip from the right side. So 1.5 by 12. Okay, so you've got 2 pieces, 10.5 by 12 and a 1.5 by 12. Both pieces go into group B. Next, Happy Floral, blue X side up. We're going to first cut a 12 by 4 inch piece and then a 12 by 3/8 inch piece. So 12 by 4. That goes into group B. And then from this remaining piece, we're going to cut a 12 by 3/8 inch piece. And then we're going to trim this little piece or strip to 10.5 inches long. Little strip goes into group B. This remaining piece you can set into group C. Okay, we have now 1 sheet of the yellow and blue paper. We're going to cut a 10.5 inch square. So let's just go ahead and do that, 10.5 inch square. First 10.5 inch cut. Then we're gonna rotate that and then measure at 10.5 inches to get your square. Okay, so this piece we're going to place into group B. This we're going to use yellow side up for our die cutting, and that goes into group A. And we're done. That was easy. Perfect. So now let's talk about die cutting. Grab your set of die cuts. Are you excited to see this? This is a new exclusive set that we designed just for this class, and you're the very first to see it. So I thought it would be great to have a fan set that we could create a page to document our crafting journey. We have the Crop and Create logo here. It's backwards because it's a die cut, but there you can kind of visualize that, as well as the shadow. We also have the little Happy Mail die cut, so that goes right in the center of that O to signify it's a Crop and Create delivered. We have some pretty delicate garland strands. We have 2 options, a solid die cut, and then we have what we call an outline die cut. So you could use these actually standalone as individual die cuts, or you're going to see in class, we're going to layer the outline on top of the backing just for some extra dimension. We have a stencil set, which is really to mimic the tissue paper flowers. Now you have to go really way back, Crop and Create alumni. Remember the tissue flower backdrops? I wanted to also include that option to make tissue paper flower stencils as your backdrop. Okay, so let's get back to our die cutting prep work that is needed for the class. So in your instruction book, you should see what I call a die cut summary chart. And so this is a list of all the die cut shapes that need to be cut out, as well as the paper so you've already pre-cut the paper. It shows here clearly from which piece of paper, which die cut shape, how many, and then maybe some notes. I'm going to go over quickly some tips on getting the most out of your die cuts and the paper for sort of maximum efficiency. So let's just take one example. The first one is from the paper, the 12x3 mint grid paper. I would like you to cut 2 large, 2 small fans, and 1 garland outline. Just to note, the garland outline is this one here, with the garland outline. And in this case, I want you to save the little garland circle pieces because they're going to be the center for your fans. So let's just quickly review. I'm just going to grab the 12x3 mint strip. Again, that's in group A. 12x3 mint piece of paper. So I would cut, and I think there is actually an illustration in your instruction booklet. You can cut 3 passes of dies on this strip. So you would cut a large and a small circle as your first pass, and then you would take on the same piece of paper, the large and the small again, okay? Run it through a second time. And then on your third pass, you would then cut out the small circle with the garland outline positioned like that. You should be able to get all those 6 pieces of die cut shapes onto your 12x3 inch strip. You can use washi tape just to hold everything down as you're die cutting it through. Another tip is that when you're die cutting out both, actually either the garland piece or the garland outline, is that you want to run the die cut perpendicular. I tried to make it as clear as possible as to which paper to use, how many die cut shapes, which group the paper was in, and maybe a little tip or two on how to get the most out of your paper strips. One thing I like to mention about these fan dies is that because we're cutting through Carta Bella pattern paper, Carta Bella paper is thicker, so I would suggest shimming. Place a shim underneath your cutting mats. Paper sorting, paper cutting, and die cutting completed. Again, the beauty of this video is that you can pause, you can rewind it, and just complete the prep work at your own pace. And I'm so excited to see you in class. If there are any questions, feel free to reach out. Happy crafting!